What's going on, boxing class? Today I want to talk about wrapping hands. Now, there's a bunch of ways to wrap hands, there's different materials, but let's go over the most common way to wrap hands and the type of wrap that you're going to be using when you're working in the gym, especially for beginners. So, there's a couple of different types of wraps. The ones we're going to talk about today are the cotton wraps. You'll see them here in the blue and the pink. They come in 180 inches or 120 inches. The 120 is usually for kids or for people with small hands and small wrists. Here you see the Leroy Mexican wraps. These are old school. They've been around for a long time. A lot of the pros like to use those. And then here's the cotton gauze and tape. Gauze and tape is normally for hard sparring. Anybody that has consistent hand problems, they want to tape up and use them in your professional fights or your amateur fights. You always want, if you can, you want to use a knuckle pad. Here you see me actually making a knuckle pad with some extra gauze. You can make a knuckle pad with using foam or using a sponge, but basically you create like an extra layer of protection to put on top of your knuckles. It just helps to prevent injury and just prevent wear down of your knuckles. So that's what a knuckle pad looks like there. You put it on top of your hand, and then you place your wraps over it. So one thing you got to know with the wraps, when you take them out of the package, they have the Velcro on the top. So to make it easier to put it on, you want to basically reverse roll it or unroll it, and then have the what is known as the thumb loop on the top. There you see the thumb loop. That makes it easier when you start out. And instead of doing it by hand, you can use a hand wrap roller to reverse the hand wraps. Or if you have tangled up hand wraps, is a good way to get them back nice and clean and tight. But as you see there, it gets the thumb loop on the top, and that makes it a lot easier when you're starting out to wrap your hands, because the thumb loop is the first thing that goes on, obviously, on your thumb. So when we're wrapping hands, the very first thing you need to do is get that thumb loop on your thumb, and you go over top of the wrist. You want to go 3 times on the wrist and kind of evenly spread out the wrap, and then 3 times on the knuckles. Before you go 3 times on the knuckles, you can put your foam, your sponge, or the knuckle pad that you made on your knuckles. A quick tip for properly wrapping hands is make sure you keep your fingers wide, because as you're going over your knuckles, if you keep your fingers narrow, you're going to squeeze them too tight. Because the wrap is supposed to be somewhat firm, somewhat tight, and if you start squeezing on your knuckles and squeezing those fingers together, it's not going to feel too comfortable, and you're not going to be able to make a good fist when you're punching. So make sure you keep your fingers wide as you're going over them, and then as you go over the top of your knuckles, make a fist, so then that the hand wrap forms to your fist, forms to your knuckles better. So once you've gone over the wrist and knuckles 3 times, you can go over the thumb and secure the thumb. And once you've gone over the thumb, you can start to go between the fingers. I like to start with the index finger first. And when you go in between the fingers, make sure when you go in between the finger, you go back over top on the knuckles, not underneath. You want to leave space underneath for your palm to be exposed. So as you see there, I'm going in between the index, then I'm going back over the knuckle, and then under the wrist. And then I'm coming across the top of the hand and back over the pinky. And then I go over the knuckle again and back under the wrist. And then I finish off with the middle. And then when I go in between the middle, you can go any direction from here, but just make sure to go back over top. And then you just finish up by tightening up the wrist and then going over the knuckle. And make sure that the very last go around on the wrist, you go nice and tight. That's the last one that you can go really tight on, and that'll help to really secure the hand and give you a good solid feel. You want it to feel somewhat like a cast. You know, if you had tape, it would feel more like a cast. But with the cotton wraps, the practice wraps, you know, you just want it to feel nice and tight and secure. So here you see it's all done. And when you finish, make sure that the underside, okay, underneath the knuckles, you want to grab that part and pull it up. That's pretty much like a grip for your fingers so that you can make a more solid fist. But that's exactly what it should look like right there, guys. Well, there you have it, guys. How to wrap hands. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.